It's on, supposedly. Welcome to the January 9th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. City Council meeting. Happy New Year. We are back. We do have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? And the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, would you please read the rules to speak?
Yes, sir. Individuals wishing to speak on agenda items must complete a sign-up card prior to the item being introduced. Those wishing to speak on quasi-judicial public hearings must complete a sign-up card and sign the oath. Sign-up and oath cards are available on the table. Individuals wishing to speak on non-agenda items may do so under petitions from the public present. This opportunity is offered twice in the meeting, and individuals may speak at either the first or second petitions, but not both. No sign-up card is required. Citizens shall not comment on any issue more than once during the meeting. All comments except petitions and requests must address the pending issues, and citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak on all items. Citizens wishing to speak on the consent agenda must submit a sign-up card identifying the items of interest. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes to speak on the entire consent agenda. All sign-up cards and exhibits being submitted to City Council shall be placed in the box on the table.
As always, thank you, City Clerk. We have no minutes to approve, so I won't mess that date up. City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. We have one administrative change to the agenda tonight. Item 9A, which is wireless in public rights-of-way, ordinance number 50, 2023. Staff is requesting to table this item to 13 February 2024.
Thank you very much, sir. We need a motion to do that. Okay, can I get a motion to?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to remove 9A. Second. All those in favor say yes.
You're tabling it.
I'm saying, well, okay, tabling it, and removing it at the same time. All right, tabling it. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Yes. We have tabled, and somebody removed it. All right, City Manager.
On to item 6A, which is under Boards and Commission, the North Brevard Economic Development Zone Dependent Special District. And the action is to confirm one member appointed by the Brevard County Board of Commissioners. On December 19th, 2023, the Brevard County Board of County Commissioners appointed Jeff Gray as a regular member for a 4-year term to expire on 31 December 2027. Staff is requesting that Council confirm this appointment.
Thank you very much. I will say that I've known Jeff, one of the few people to come before us that I've known since high school, and a very quality young man, not as young as we used to be, but has done and accomplished so much in our city. And no need to go into detail there, but I think he'd be an excellent choice. Go ahead. Yeah. Well, sort of. Do we have any cards? All right, go.
Okay. Move to confirm Jeff Gray as a member of the North Brevard Economic Development Zone for a 4-year term to expire on 12/31/2027.
Second.
Ooh. I have a motion from Member Nelson, a second from Member Stokel. Roll call vote.
Member Cole?
Yes.
Member Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yeah.
Member Stokel?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Gray, for stepping up. Petitions, requests from the public. He was ready for the rain. You see that?
Didn't want to get wet.
Exactly.
Bill Klein, 3 Indian River Avenue, Titusville, Florida. I'm asking the City Council to use Rule 13 to revote the appeal of court ruling on the citizens' right to clean water. Rule 13, a motion to reconsider any of the proceedings of the council will not be entertained unless it is made by a member who previously voted in the majority, nor shall it be entertained at any other meeting than the one at which the proceedings were had or the meeting immediately following. That means any of you can make this rule motion today. I wish that all city council members would follow Aldo Leopold's advice on ethical behavior. Ethical behavior is doing the right thing when no one else is watching, even if doing the wrong thing is legal. The U.S. EPA states that cities have a responsibility to inform the citizens if recreational waters are contaminated. When it comes to recreational waters, human health is a primary concern, especially with the pathogens and biological and chemical contaminants. Therefore, city authorities must monitor water quality and issue warnings or advisories if the water is found to be unsafe for recreational activities. The citizens of the United States have federal rights to clean, safe, recreational, marine, and fresh waters as defined in the federal EPA 2012 recreational water quality criteria. This regulation document states in clear, simple, easy to understand, measurable pollution values. Therefore, the residents of Titusville have the federal right to clean water, and our amendment is legal. There is a major difference between Orange County and Titusville City right to clean water amendments. The Titusville right to clean water amendment states that residents of the city of Titusville possess the right to clean water. The Orange County right to clean water amendment states that rivers and all waters which are within the boundaries of Orange County have a right to exist, flow, to be protected against pollution, and maintain a healthy ecosystem. All citizens of Orange County have a right to clean water by having the waters of Orange County protected against pollution. During the December 12, 23 City Council meeting, Mayor Diesel stated that two very competent and excellent judges ruled that Titusville right to clean water is constitutional and is clear and easy to understand. Both judges ruled that Titusville City Council should add the amendment to the city charter in 30 days. Several of the council members in the December meeting made several false statements. The judges did not give a detailed explanation as to why the amendment was constitutional. The amendment was not easy to understand.
Let's go in 30 seconds, wrap up wherever you can.
Okay? The amendment would cost the citizens a lot of money. The city will spend another $30,000 if they contract Mr. Collins to appeal the past two judges. And if you want to know, I have a discussion for each one of those things as to why those statements were false.
Thank you very much. Council, obviously I'm going weird with this clock. But anyway, you guys heard it, the three that voted yes are the ones that need to make a motion if you want to do that. If not, we will move on. I see none. Petitions request, continue. I see none. City Manager.
On to consent agenda items. City Council, do you have any questions of staff regarding consent agenda items A through G?
I see none.
City Council, do you want to pull any of the consent agenda items A through G for further discussion?
I see none.
Clerk, are there any cards for consent agenda item A through G? Mr. Mayor, I'd like to read the titles for the record.
Thank you, sir.
Consent agenda item 8A, approve the amendment to economic incentive agreement with Trimcore Construction US 1 Sanitary Sewer Project. Consent agenda item 8B, approve the purchase of Tenderdyne reinforced police vehicle. Consent agenda item 8C, approve the work order for construction engineering services for the Blue Heron Screen Project. Consent agenda item 8D, recognize the capital purchase of one MSA air pack and one air cylinder. Consent agenda item 8E, approve change order number 2 for additional engineering services for the Master Pump Station Improvement Project. Consent agenda item 8F, approve change order number 1 with SDV Services for additional work to the 10 million gallon clarifier drive unit replacement project. And consent agenda item 8G, authorize the extension of the code enforcement special magistrate term.
Thank you very much. Clerk, could you call the cards, please? No cards. City Council, Council, do we have a motion?
Move to approve as consent agenda items 8A through 8G.
I have a motion from Member Nelson,
Second.
second from Member Stokel, that's 2. Roll call vote, please.
Member Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Member Stokel?
Yes.
Member Cole?
Consent agenda passes unanimously. City Manager.
As a reminder, 9A, ordinance number 50, 2023 has been tabled to 13 February 2024. We are now on item 10A, which is ordinance number 4, 2024 Landscape Technical Manual Ordinance, first reading. And this is ordinance number 4, 2024. The city attorney will read the ordinance for the record.
Ordinance number 4, 2024, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances by amending the Landscaping Technical Manual to update the approved trees and shrubs list, specifically amending Section 5, Landscaping, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances, incorporation into the code, and an effective date.
At the January 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission, they tabled this item until the TEC can provide their recommendation again, and that meeting will be held tomorrow. Brad's here to answer any questions that you may have on the first reading of the Technical Landscape Manual.
Brad, a couple clarifications. TEC initiated this project
That's correct.
and TEC approved it.
They supported and accepted the proposed changes this past summer.
Okay, does that mean that they approved it?
We took it as they concurred with what we were proposing. So we put it in the format of an ordinance, and that's what we have right now. And that's what we brought before the P&Z. So the list did not change very much.
And truthfully, and I'm fine with P&Z moving it back that way. I was just a little confused because I was under the understanding that they proposed it and approved it, so I wasn't sure why it went back. But I'm fine with any clarification we need from TEC. Their input continue is fine. I just didn't quite understand it. Council, anything? It's first reading. We don't have anything else we need to do. Any cards on that?
Yes, sir, I have two cards. Marla Beckles.
Hey.
Hi, Marla Spreckle, Titusville. I spoke to the TEC the first time they were talking about this. And just when this came out, I was looking at it and trying to understand the trees recommended in the technical manual. And they're not what TEC recommended. And I had recommended, I took the Master Gardener course at the Extension Office, University of Florida Extension Office down in Cocoa, a few years ago. So it's been a while. And up until the last 2 years, I've been keeping up on the continued education and the volunteering. I can't do the volunteering as much anymore, so I'm dropping out from that. But I was very impressed with Sally Scalera. She was the leader and the teacher of all the classes. And this was like a 13-week class, 1 day a week, all day. So it was very comprehensive, and it was especially focused on Brevard County. So what Sally has done, which I actually thought about doing and realized it would take me 40 hours to do it, is she has gone through a list of recommended native plants from the guy who did a whole study on all the plants that are the best for the environment in each community. And he just did it for sections of the country. She went through that list, plant by plant. She did not just trees, but shrubs, flowers, ground cover, everything. And specifically for Brevard County, said what is good in Brevard County, if you can buy them here in Brevard County, if they're for dry soils and well-drained soils, or if they're for moist soils. And made this whole complete list, which is available for free. I gave that to the TEC and they approved it. And now I see the new list that they have, which they got from a consultant, doesn't follow that at all. And I just think it's a shame that we don't, our own extension agent, who I know must have spent hours and hours
Yeah, I look forward to seeing more of that.
to do all that detail work, and we're going to ignore it? It just doesn't seem smart. So I just want to put in a plug for
Thank you,
using
thank
that
you.
list.
Sounds very informative. Member Nelson.
No, I just wanted to ask a question, because when I went through the list, I was seeing native plants, and then I saw some non-native plants.
Yeah,
But there were plants that I grew up with. So I'm sort of like,
well,
always thought they were
just
native plants.
because plants do well here doesn't mean they're good for our environment or not native, are native. You know, what does really well? Brazilian peppers.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
They grow everywhere.
Yeah.
Another one is Mexican petunias.
I was just going to tell you about
Don't
that.
plant a Mexican petunia, you'll never get rid of them. And neither will all your neighbors, because it
Well,
spreads like.
Sometimes when you say you'll never get rid of them, and I learned in 2016 when I first got on council, I was talking to a lady working with the county, and I was bragging on my garden a little bit, and I said, and I have Mexican petunias. She about went through the roof. I didn't know that you were, I didn't know a thing about that. I've learned a lot, believe me. But I will say this, I can't even kill them, so that's a good thing. They're purple, they're pretty, but I get what you're saying. So I was going to say the purple petunias, you'll learn Mexican petunias.
Yeah,
You'll learn about
they
it.
aren't a host plant for any butterfly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, the pollinators do
They
like
get-
the
they do
flowers,
butterflies,
but
though. But anyway, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I had a question.
Oh, remember, I think you can't leave, you're getting popular up there. Member Stokel.
Hold on
Um,
2 seconds.
I'll give
Oh,
you-
do you need
So
to
I might
follow up?
say-
Go ahead.
Excuse me.
God
I
bless
was
you.
just, this is horrible. I was just gonna say it might be worth showing Sally the list. She is a brilliant lady.
yeah, she is.
Meet her.
You've never
She won't like my Mexican petunia.
Well, no, she did.
No.
I guess my question was, typically, I rely a lot on the TEC and what they're saying, and at first I was confused by this item as well, because it said that they had already approved it.
that's what I
So
was asking.
do you have any thoughts on TEC already approving this and what you would like us to do?
I
or
don't
why you
think
that
that's the,
happened?
I don't think that's what they approved.
So you don't
'cause
think
the-
what we have here is
No,
what
they liked.
TEC approved?
They liked Sally's list.
Okay, so you think what we have is not what TEC saw and approved?
Right, that's what I think.
Is, Brad, do you have?
Brad?
Okay. I received comments from Ms. Beckles. We shared the draft, or the draft that our consultant was hired to do with the TEC and various members of the community. I received comments from Ms. Beckles. I received comments from Ms. St. Ange, Mr. Young, who's on the TEC, and Ms. Thompson. And I also received collective comments from the TEC when we brought them a draft of this. We brought this, we gave all of this information to our consultant. They did, based on their scope of work, was to take the list that TEC suggested that council adopt in replacement of the list that we had in our code. We had told the council that that's probably not a good idea, that we should probably take what's good out of that list and incorporate it into our current list. The consultant did that to include native and Florida-friendly vegetation. And then we shared that with everybody in the TC, including other members, and that's when I received your comments, Ms. Beckles, including everybody else. We gave those to the consultant, and then she made additional revisions. But she didn't accept everybody's recommendations. She couldn't do that. So then she brought that and presented it to the Environmental Commission on June this past summer, and they accepted it. And so we took that as, well, we're good to go. We can go forward with the ordinance. They had questions. They had an opportunity to speak with the consultant. We gave them ample opportunity to speak with that consultant and ask them questions and give them a heads up about it, too, to make sure that we didn't have anybody missing that meeting. So we took that list that TC concurred and blessed, basically, and turned it into an ordinance. So the list that you see here on your first reading is essentially the same list that was shown to City Council, or the TEC, back in June.
Okay, so just to clarify, TEC had some ideas, some citizens had ideas. They looked at that. The consultant then came into the picture, looked at it, try to put it together, TEC saw what we're seeing right here now as a result of everybody's thoughts.
The only changes, now the consultant had to make calls.
Okay,
Basically, you had to make calls to say some things that are being suggested are probably not appropriate.
okay. Which makes sense. I get it. Like, you're going to have varying perspectives.
The consultant, we specifically asked for a landscape architect with Kimberly Horn, who was on our continuing contract. They helped us, she helped us work on this. Her name is, she was actually going to be at the TC meeting tomorrow night.
Okay,
And depending on how that meeting goes, she may continue and be at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to follow up. And if, depending on what happens there, she may be here as well at your hearing. So everybody's going to have an ample opportunity to quiz her with any questions about this list.
okay,
We did everything we possibly could to try and answer everybody's comments and questions. We shared all this information that I've received with the consultant. They had, again, had to make calls. But even then, after June, we had to make certain tweaks, but they were not significant tweaks. They were primarily formatting tweaks to the list. So the structure, for example, of the ordinance had to be consistent with what we have in our code so that the list, the recommended list of vegetation, is consistent with how we can apply it in the regulations in the landscape code.
okay,
Now, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at this last, they had questions about, well, should we need to reconsider the list, make it more heavily native, even include some additional policies in the code that talk about minimum amount of planting of a landscape plan has to be native. You know, these are above and beyond the scope of this work of this project. So you may receive these kind of requests or recommendations from TC and the commission. Just understand that that's above and beyond the scope. I'm hoping that we can resolve and answer all the questions of the consultant there tomorrow night
okay.
and then bring this before you eventually. But there's certainly room for improvement. I mean, it's there may be some vegetation in there that some people object to. One in particular was we removed laurel oak as a recommended tree. That doesn't mean you can't propose it as part of a landscape plan. It just means it's not recommended. You got to have justify if you're really going to propose it. And there's
Okay.
certain reasons for that that the landscape architect suggested. TC didn't have any objection about that, their meeting. A member of the Planning and Zoning Commission did. And that's partly why it's going back to the TC.
So we're having our first reading now. TEC will see it again tomorrow, and then will P&Z see it since they tabled it before our second reading?
We intend to bring it back to them on the 17th. We hope to have
Okay.
some recommendation or comment from TC that they can
So by the time
Utilize.
we have our second reading, we'll have had another TEC and P&Z to kind of help inform us to how we should maybe proceed.
That's the path we're on right now.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your input, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I guess where I'm at with it, Brad, it sounds like TEC, to some degree, saw it, had the expert go in front of them, answer questions. I guess what I don't want to do is go back like we did with the tree ordinances, which I'm so proud that we have, and play ping pong with them back and forth. You know, we need to be there and we need to get it done. It sounds like a lot has been done already. A few tweaks, a second look by TEC. You know, I use the word expert, I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but being in front of TEC, answer questions, this needs to be handled like it should be handled. I'll leave it at that. I see no more,
One more card.
any other cards?
Yes, sir. Bill Klein. And that's the last card.
Okay.
Bill Klein, 3 Indian River Avenue, Titusville, Florida. I was at the TEC meetings. I agree with a lot with what my wife, Marla Spreckle, said. I know that she has a lot of experience in native plants. I also do a lot of work with native plants. At one time was the vice president of Sea Rocket Native Plant Society, which is of the Florida Native Plant Societies. I did not get the list as it was approved in the document till just yesterday, so I was not able to go item by item down each plant. I was reviewing what St. Ange had to say. Some of the plants in that list are not recommended for Brevard County. They do not are not recommended for this zone. We have specific zones that plants are recommended for. So I don't know which ones those are, but I'm sure if we go down item by item, we'll find some plants that are not recommended in this zone. Another thing I know is that the list that Sally Scalera wrote is a very good list. I do not know why we spent, I don't know how much money your consultant charged to make up a new list. That was not necessary. I know that the TEC had said before it went to the consultant, they recommended Sally Scalera's list as the list to be the recommended plants. I think it's a big mistake using that list unless it's thoroughly analyzed and made sure that every plant is good for this area. One plant I know on it, which people may disagree with me, is avocado trees. They do grow here. The Florida Agriculture Department, when I was working at a native plant garden, they were coming by inspecting for the insects that are causing the disease for the the red bay trees. And these trees are dying all over. The avocado is one of the spreaders of this disease. And the man from the agriculture department told me that he goes around inspecting avocado trees, and if those are in the area, he has to monitor for bugs on those trees. So that's not a good tree to recommend. And there are other trees there that I think I can find if I'm given the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Any comments there? Any other cards? Then this is the first reading. We move on. City Manager.
On to new business. This is item 12A, the final plat acceptance of the coveteds for Phase 2 Master HOA changes, performance bonds, and easements for Tranquility Phase 2. This is a quasi-judicial item, so the city attorney will read the procedures for quasi-judicial.
During the public hearing portion of this meeting, anyone interested to speak on a quasi-judicial item must first sign a public hearing agenda card and sign the oath contained thereon. These cards are located on the table at the entrance to the chamber. If you have photographs, sketches, or documents that you desire for the city council to consider, they must be submitted into evidence and will be retained by the city. Please submit such exhibits to the city clerk. City clerk, of all persons wishing to speak before the city council, signed an oath card swearing to tell the truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes, sir. To staff and applicant, ensure that all witnesses that intend to speak have signed an oath card swearing to tell the truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth, and provided that to the clerk.
Yes.
If there's anyone present who has not signed an oath card that wishes to speak on the quasi-judicial item, please submit a card at this time. City clerk, of all agenda items have been properly advertised. Yes, sir. In the event that a council member has received an ex parte communication, either verbal or written, outside of this hearing, the council member shall disclose the identity of the person, group, or entity with whom the communication took place and the subject of the communication, including all opinions or facts discussed. Any written communication must be disclosed and made a part of the record. Also, in the event that a member has conducted an investigation or site visit or received any expert opinions regarding the quasi-judicial item, said visit or opinions shall be disclosed. So it would be appropriate this time if any council member has any ex parte communications to disclose that you do that at this point.
Council?
None.
None? Okay, that's a member Stokel, no? No, okay.
On 3 January 2024, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval as presented, 7-0. The Mylar is present, and upon approval, the mayor will sign that tomorrow. And Brad's here to answer any questions that you may have.
Council, questions? I see none.
I just want to make one statement that we found that the final plat is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The preliminary plat and final plat requirements described in Chapter 34, Article 3, Division Plat of the Code. Staff has reviewed the final plat for consistency with the comprehensive plan, land development regulations, and recommends approval.
You have the Mylar here.
Yes.
It's been signed by the surveyor.
Yes, it's been signed by the surveyor.
Very good. Vice Mayor?
Yes, Brad. This final plat, it includes all of the recommended changes and the things that we incorporated on that 3 o'clock morning that we had here. That was my
Those,
question on writing.
yeah, so this is one tract out of several tracts of that master development.
Okay,
So
so
of that tract, it would have to adhere to the park and recreation requirement for that particular tract.
Track.
But overall, for the entire development, it would still have to adhere to the open space requirement for the whole development.
There's some more things that we have to, but as far as this portion of it, or this track of it, it is inclusive of all of the things that
Yes.
was happening. Okay, thank you.
Anything else from council? All right, we'll call the applicant.
One card, it's Rodney Honeycutt.
I'll go with the applicant first, then I'll call cards, and then applicant again.
Good evening, Rodney Honeycutt, 3700 South Washington Avenue. I'm happy to be here to request that you approve the final plat for Phase 2. Tranquility, almost as happy as this gentleman over here is that owns it. Thank you, staff, for helping us get through this. And so we have the plans approved for the engineering, we have the final plat approved, we have the HOA, and we have the performance bond, and so we request approval. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions.
Any questions? I see none, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Call the card, please.
That is the only card.
Oh, well, got them both out of the way at one time. All right, applicant, you're back up if you want to be. Because we called the cards.
Yeah, I think he's spent enough time up
All
here.
right, take a motion.
Move to approve the final plat and covenants for Tranquility Phase 2 and accept the covenants Phase 2 and master HOA changes, performance bonds, and easement for the completion of required infrastructure and sidewalks.
Second.
Got a motion from Member Nelson, a second from Member Cole. Roll call vote.
Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes,
Member Stokel?
Yes.
Member Cole?
Yes.
Member Nelson?
Plat approved. Thank you guys very much. Keep on going. All right, city manager.
Petitions and requests.
Petitions, requests from the public? I see, clients are thinking, they're debating. I see none.
Mayor and council reports.
I'm going to go with the council first, and I'll go last, so let's go with Member Stokel.
Oh, boy. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this as brief as possible.
Well, truthfully, you can take your time because it's not midnight.
I know, I get all the time I want. Okay, so first off, last night, Vice Mayor was sworn in as the new Board of Directors for Space Coast League of Cities, which was exciting. So we had that down in Palm Bay yesterday.
Wait, just for the record, I don't think I was ever sworn in my year.
You might have just signed the form.
Okay.
Yeah, but
No formality for me.
we had a whole ceremony, so it was great. I will say it was a long drive to Palm Bay. So that happened, and then during our meeting, our board meeting, there was a lengthy list of potential updates from the state. So I will briefly cover these to keep on your radar. So session started, I think, yesterday. So just imagine that the next 2 months that things are going to be changed, moved, whatnot. So things to think about that would impact us potentially. There is a bill regarding increasing homestead exemption from $50,000 to $75,000. There is a bill regarding repeal of BTRs, which would impact our revenue and funds coming in if they do that. That does not have a Senate sponsor yet. Building permits regarding cities that have a population of 30,000 or more. I mentioned this before. This before had like 3 calendar days you had to get back to an applicant, which made absolutely no sense. I think there's talk about 5 days now. It's hard to say, but I feel like they're really pushing, like, we want to make it easy for development to happen in the state of Florida. Like that is a consistent theme, and I'm sure they're getting a lot of perspective on issues that applicants, developers might be facing, and so they're trying to account for that And so I feel like it's our job to say, you know, we hear you, we don't want it to be too much red tape either, but what is realistic, and how will this impact us? And where does money come from if you are going to start limiting our revenue? This one was interesting. If you want to increase your millage rate or increase your taxes, because those could be two separate things, there is talk about having to have a supermajority vote or having it go to referendum. So I thought that was interesting. Still sovereign immunity issues, raising the cap on that. Mobility fees, mobility plans, which actually is something that we support. There was another talk about if you want to make changes to your comp plan, limiting some of what we can do, which I thought was interesting. Sorry to Member Nelson, there's talk about fees for electric vehicles because you are not getting the same gas tax, but yet you're
That's
still
fair.
using the roads. Yep.
That's fair.
Yes, which makes sense. So that was,
Although I still say my car is smarter than me.
yeah, I don't know. There was one incident that you had. Something regarding, again, sorry, some of this I don't have the full picture on yet, but if you want to know more, I'm still trying to wrap my head around some of them. Talk about if you are providing utilities to non-residents, you can't charge them more than your current residents. So think about water, for instance. There's a bill regarding if you have a complaint against law enforcement. I don't know what that entails. That was the only update that I have at this moment. And then lastly, they are talking about amendments to the Live Local Act, which we anticipated happening. So as of right now, there's discussion about removing the industrial portion, which we had talked about that. So the industrial portion would be removed from that. Also regarding height and density, if you recall, it was within a mile radius. They're talking about limiting that to just a quarter of a mile radius because some cities are only 2 square miles. And then in addition to that, regarding height, it would be looking at the property right next door to you, like where you are, it cannot exceed 125% of like this property right next to you. So I anticipated that there would be some amendments to this. These are, I don't know how much they would impact our potential applicants trying to use Live Local, but I feel like they're trying to correct some of the issues that they're already seeing. So that's all on that. And then I will continue to keep you posted. Vice Mayor and I are going to Tallahassee later this month. We'll probably know more then when we go. And then lastly, not regarding this, I did just want to bring your attention to a post that I saw over the Christmas break that really concerned me, especially as we're getting new developments happening. It was a house I had been to before. It's in the county in Cocoa, relatively new home. She had posted after a storm that water was seeping up through her foundation. So not coming in through a wall, not coming in like, through the front door or window. And I will say it's built in a lower level area. And I just want us to be aware as we hear the storm now, record-breaking storms that we haven't had before. And on top of that, a lot of new development happening in some of our wetlands, uplands areas that weren't necessarily designed to be built on. So just kind of keeping that on the forefront of our minds as we approve development, as we try to come up with creative ways to make sure that when people are purchasing homes that they won't have issues like this. Because it really broke my heart to see that. It's people's life savings are going in. This is their one big asset. And then that's what they're getting with a relatively new development. So just something to think about, and that is all I have.
I want to play off of that real quick. First of all, the coming up through the foundation, that's not new, and it's not necessarily a big wetlands problem. When we had Tropical Storm Faye, I lived in Port St. John, and I had water come up through my foundation, and, I mean, that's not a good thing. Because I'm checking, where's the leak? Where's the leak? Where's the leak? It didn't take but a tiny little crack in the foundation is how that happened. And so that's Port St. John. So I think that we, got to be careful sometimes. Oh, don't go here. I'm all for that. But when you said that, I couldn't help but think of that. The second thing for me, and it's a big deal to me, and I've said this before, and call it a little bit of an angst, perhaps even with the League of Cities. We've got unprecedented numbers of council people resigning on Form 6. I was there for a year, and I didn't hear much of nothing about Form 6. Truthfully, I probably heard more about the breakfast that we were putting on, if you know what I'm talking about, because that was some like, what? So I guess, if anything I send back is that I cannot believe that that's not something we didn't all come together on and say, well, let's talk about this. I did a lot of research in the last couple of days because what I'm seeing over and over and over again, is council people resigning from Tampa to Jacksonville to Fort Lauderdale. It goes on and on. So for me, I really examined the form for the first time, and I'll be honest with you, I emailed the city attorney for a briefing or a summary of what this is all about. One thing I'll just say, and then I won't go into great detail on it because it's really not worth it. We just happen to have a little time. Is they want if anything over $1,000 jewelry. If you have jewelry over $1,000, how do I know? I mean, and truthfully, I noted this to city attorney. I bought my wife. I've been married 45 years. If I'm wrong, she'll tell me, but it's something like that. Anyway. And I bought her a ring 30 years ago. Am I supposed to be a jewelry expert? I think it's pretty absurd. I get the financial transparency. Mine's not very exciting, I will tell you that. That being said, I'm not worried about it at all. But I think the things they're asking us to declare and know, I'm not a jewelry expert. I mean, so I'm supposed to go through my wife's jewelry? Is that what we're doing? I think it's terrible. So that being said, they said they want us all to do the same thing. They're doing it, we should do it.
Yeah.
Have they heard of the Sunshine Law?
No, and that was honestly.
They don't have that in the state legislature, just saying.
That was my argument, and this issue was actually brought up more so at the Florida League of Cities versus the Space Coast League of Cities, and they did try their best to fight it. If I'm being honest, I feel like a lot of elected officials probably didn't understand how intrusive the form is. We heard that it's more intrusive,
The
and
guy
a
who
lot of
proposed
them.
it had some good words, and basically he said that we should all do the same thing, transparent. I mean, no offense, I made more as a football supplement than I make here. I mean,
No,
this is like semi-volunteer.
And just to that point, we found out yesterday that 5 in our county resigned. So that's
I
just
hadn't heard
regard.
that, so it's-
So 5 of them did resign. And this was our plea to them, and it was just one that we ended up losing. They said, we're doing it, you can do it, it's not that big of a deal. And there wasn't.
Neither is a sunshine law. Tell them don't worry about it.
That's one of my
Deal
fights,
with
trust me,
All right,
I've mentioned
That's
it.
my say. I'll probably get some phone calls later.
Mr.
Tallahassee
Mayor,
calling.
Just one thing that.
Yeah, Vice Mayor.
I shared in the same lines that the League of Cities is trying to get together a conference, if you will, within the next few weeks in Cocoa. Bring people in from Tallahassee to explain it better. So we'll keep everyone informed of that when that's going to be. Yes, it is. It's somewhat intrusive. All right, what have I done over the last? Well, first thing, we went to the memorial service for the homeless who has passed, and it was the mayor and I was there. We worked together as usual.
As we do.
work.
Yep. Always good.
And to get it accomplished, it was a beautiful ceremony and very, very nice ceremony, what they did. And also, I was with Sarah last night, finding out all that information. There's a lot of stuff going on and will continue to go on. But yes, there is the Live Local Act is affecting a lot of people, and they are going to tailor it a little bit probably as time goes. But we got a lot of compliments. Member Cole said it. We got a lot of compliments for what we're doing up here in Titusville over the holidays, and how we don't argue, fight, and fuss too much.
That's right. They do say that.
Keep it to a mild roar from time to time, but that's kind of All that I have,
Good holiday.
yes, it was.
I had a mayor's lunch they have down in Melbourne, and I was commenting on that same thing, that the mayors, I guess there's about 7 or 8 mayors there, Satellite, India Atlantic, Melbourne, Palm Bay, and they say, I didn't ask, they say that, you know, Titusville's really hopping, you guys are really moving, you know, you're the rising star of our county, and it's always nice to hear. I think that we're, you know, doing our best to have smart growth, but boy, I tell you, it's a lot of happening out there. I will say, add to that, that this Saturday, and for anybody watching, I had it confused too, because all the Martin Luther King Day parades that I've ever been in were Martin Luther King Day, Monday. It's going to be Saturday. It's Saturday, it starts at Campbell Park, and it goes to Gibson, and I think they're going to have some speakers, et cetera. I'll be one of them, on probably one of those little podium things back there, on the fields. I like that too. It's going to be a beautiful day. I think the high is in the 60s, so that'll be great. I always look forward to the Martin Luther King Day events, and it'll be pretty much all day. You kind of line up for the parade around 8 o'clock, and they say it's over at 4. We'll see how that plays out. But it's great to be back. Happy New Year, and as noted by Member Ball previously, it is Law Enforcement Thank You Day. I honestly didn't know that, so I'm glad I got it for my 2 favorite law enforcement guys. 2 you guys leave and 2 more come in. So they're my favorites. Anyway, thank you guys for always being here. I appreciate what you do for our city. I really do. Member Nelson.
I'm just going to add one thing, because I thought this was interesting, and I don't know if the city manager told you guys, but apparently Brad is using AI.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're going to do a pilot program, and we're working to get it unveiled here pretty soon.
So,
that means Brad is an actual holocaust sitting up there?
yeah.
That's not Brad.
Oh, that's not Brad. Okay.
So, you know, we
It's not
talk about.
Herman either. It never is.
Napkin for the last 7
That's right. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Member Nelson.
So it's just nice to see us sort of getting into the future
Very good.
and trying out new things. I heard it helps. So we'll see.
Plug him in like an electric car.
May I say something
Absolutely.
To my friend,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, I
that-
like
We have
technology.
friends on the council, we have a sunshine clause.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, she's my friend when we not up here. You know, they got a trade-in problem with those EVs, you know?
You want to trade, Joe?
Get ready. Hold on. Here we go.
Is people having problem paying, buying the car and then have to pay $13,000 for a new battery.
That's true.
So just keep that in mind as this EV, and the parking lot's full of them, or the car lots, anyway.
Okay, back to you.
Well, I'm going to keep quiet for that one.
All right, Member Cole.
Okay, I also will be speaking at the MLK ceremony on Saturday. I'm doing a stand-up. No, I'm actually,
I thought you were.
you thought I am stamina, right? So it's going to be a good event, as Mayor Diesel said. The other thing I wanted to talk to is on the 20th of January at Sandpoint Park,
Yeah.
we have the grand opening of our all-inclusive playground. We're going to have complimentary food, Kona ice, face painting, and when they do the face painting, they're going to get rid of these bags under my eyes. And balloons, animals, so, it's going to be very kid-friendly. So we'd like for everyone, it's free, we'd like everyone to come out and join us, and it's from 12 to 5 at Sandpoint Park. The actual playground is completed, so, but the grand opening will be a week from this coming Saturday.
And just to kind of reiterate and emphasize, well said, Member Cole, I'm glad you did. This is a playground with access for all. Handicapped children, special needs children, it's a big, big deal. And I know that, gosh, it seemed like 4 or 5 years ago, there was a move to do it, and it kind of fell apart, and I think the Kiwanis
What?
Rotary.
What?
The Rotary,
Oh, thank you.
the Rotary, it might be Kiwanis too, but anyway.
No,
the
no,
Rotary
it was Rotary.
Is, and which one are you guys exactly? The
North Brevard Rotary.
North Brevard Rotary, they have taken the bull by the horns, and it's going to be really exciting to be there. Seriously, the hot dogs and all that would be great, but to be able to see kids who can't go to a regular playground come to that playground, that's a big deal.
So we didn't, basically, it cost $300,000 to do it, and we had a grant. We got a grant, and we supplemented it with the Bear Fest that we had and the other fundraisers we had to do it. And we will probably try to continue to fundraise to do other parts of the park, which would be different from the all-inclusive park. And we are going to fence it in. We're putting a fence up. We got a price of $14,000 to put a fence around it. No gate, just a fence.
Wow. You'd be commended. My hat's off to your Rotary group and all those involved. City Manager.
I've got a few items. First one is a date for the CBDG planning session, which will be 11 January. That's this Thursday at 5:30 here in council chambers. You see a lot of construction material in and around the downtown area as well as the south side. So I'm just going to go through a few of these items.
Thank you.
So that people will understand what's happening. The Titusville Talking Points come out next week, but a lot of this material will be in there. Sandpoint Park baffle box, you'll see an excavator there at the entranceway off of Indian River Avenue. The baffle boxes are there. There will be an installation of that baffle box. And this particular baffle box will be an educational baffle box where you can actually look at the baffles, and there'll be some plaques to demonstrate what you're actually seeing there. The Space Park Observation Walkway and Pier, you'll see them mobilized at the end of this week. You'll see a barge out into the Indian River Lagoon, and the construction project for that will last about 2.5 to 3 months if the schedule goes as planned. The Force Main project continues from the South Street Lift Station up to the Osprey plant. That's a major project, about a $10 million project. That will be going probably closer to the middle of the summer now to have that completed. The Lunch Now Apartments, which is the old Cafe Chocolat, has opened. There's 7 of 20 apartments that are already occupied. And if you look down there in the downtown area, it is starting to come back to life just with that area. The Southside Force Main project that runs from Bricks Project to 405 is just about done. The city will take that over once we can get some power issues resolved with the FPL. And that runs basically all the way from 405 down there. And that's a supplement from the North Brevard Economic Development Zone grant, which our TIF will be paying for it. As the mayor stated, 9 January is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and I would like to recognize my name, Major Little, who is here. Officer Jackson there, who works at Jackson Middle School, has one of the harder jobs being a school resource officer. And then Officer Cruz was here, but he actually left to go work out. So I would like to, my sincere appreciation for all.
Absolutely.
And subject to your questions, that completes my report.
See no questions. City Attorney?
And just an update on one of the litigation issues, Apollo Gardens. I believe last time we spoke, the court had dismissed that with the ability to file an amended complaint, which they've done. I received that last week, so we will be filing a responsive pleading on that at the end of this week or next week.
Very good. Council, anything else? With that, the new year, we had passed an ordinance a long time ago that come 2024, all meetings had to be over by 7:35. With that, meeting adjourned.